Welcome to the OpenJ9 community call for November 15th. If you haven't already, please add your name and a company affiliation to the minutes so we can see who's regularly attending these meetings. And as usual, we'll start asking if anyone has anything important they'd like to bring up at the start of the meeting. Otherwise, there's a place for any other business at the end. If you do have something, feel free to interrupt. Uh, we don't have any lightning talks scheduled. If you do have a lightning talk you'd like to schedule, please speak to myself or Dan, or you can add it to a note to the minutes and we'll schedule it for a future meeting. So we'll take a look at the user raised issues open in the last week. Right, so there is an issue about bounce GC. There is some discussion going on. About trying a new feature which didn't seem to be working, and then a workaround was suggested, and that's ongoing. And then there was a question about hotspot diagnostic MX Bean. I guess Java 8 still includes hotspot diagnostic MX Bean. So even though you can't run it, you could compile code that uses it. But if you try to use Java 11 to compile the same code, it doesn't work because hotspot diagnostic MX Bean is not there in Java 11. So that basically just a question about why that was so. Does anybody have anything to bring up for user raised issues? So we'll continue along. So for 035, we're just waiting for the AR64 Mac builds to finish testing. We were hoping it would be finished by today, but there's a machine issue. Adam, I think you know about that. So once the machine issue is resolved, we should have builds. We should be able to complete testing and hopefully have builds that can be published within a day or two. 036. We've got 3 issues remaining. The 3 issues are all on the JIT team. Thanks, Daryl, for moving out a lot of issues this morning, and Toby moved a few more. So basically for Java 8, 11, and 17, I think we're pretty much ready to go. I assume we'll either move out the remaining issues or maybe put in another fix or two if there's still time. And then there was one PR that's got an ongoing discussion, something about the processing in Java core. I guess it'd be nice if we could get into this release. If not, we'll have to defer it to the next release. So we are planning to branch next Friday, just over a week and a half, like about a week and a half left. We could still put in a fix or two after the branch date, but we won't want to have anything in as we approach milestone 2, which is December 12th. I don't think there's any point in discussing Java 20 right now. Let's just jump into Java 19. So we are down a few issues, down to 22 from 30. I collected some stats. I noticed 7 are still marked as test excluded, so it seems like we're still not running all the tests we should be. There are 16 test failure issues still open, although I think some of those might be dupes of each other. 3 of those have no component assigned, but for the ones that do have components assigned, we've got 11 on the JIT team, 7 on VM, 3 marked GVMTI, and 1 GC. So Jack, can you take us through your stuff for Loom?
Yep. So for Loom, currently there's 3 separate issues that we're investigating. One is the invalid JIT return address, which the JIT team have been working on. There is another one related to a crash that occurs during virtual thread amount in JVMTI, and Babnit have a PR that is open and currently being reviewed, which is supposed to remove that issue. The third one, I have a PR open, which have to do with the active carrier thread. Uh, the issue is that with Loom, OpenJDK have modified how object.wait works to added a wrapper inside their native call to invoke a special blocker API that is supposed to compensate when a carrier thread is being blocked. So I've made the corresponding changes in the OpenJ9's version of object wait, and that is currently under review. In terms of the progress for each of the work item, I think Babnit is working with GC team on the JVMTI issue to determine the root cause. For the JIT issue, we don't have an update yet. Nazim is still working on reproducing the issue with a usable JIT log that JIT would be able to use to diagnose the problem. I think that's it from my update. I'll leave it to Alec or Daryl for any further updates.
I think Daryl's on the call today.
As far as GC, you can remove that race from the notes. That has been resolved yesterday. The fix has been merged. So metronome double barrier, I'm still thinking about it, what is to be done, and if something is to be done. It's non-trivial problem and probably very hard to reproduce. Maybe we don't have a test case, to cover it. Anyway, so everything is functionally ready as far as except this metronome issue. So yeah, there could be some also performance improvements, but we're gonna just not do anything before we get a reasonable benchmarks around, and stress tests, etc.
Okay, thank you. Cheng, do you have updates for Panama?
Yeah. So the digital trade for fair on Wim sites, we still got one PR still on the code review. In terms of the Sun general codes, there are still issues out there. We got a PR submitted on Zenix. The rest of the other two, I think Daryl and Kumar already figure out what's happening out there, or is still working on their solutions. There is another one, the JIT related issues, I think, related to the OpenJDK Mess Hunter. I think there still have no progress out there because different probably is collecting the JIT logs. The probably need to be delayed. Yeah, that's here on my side.
So it looks to me like Java 19 is not going to make 0.36. There's just too many pending issues and problems. We should continue though, trying to get it ready and get as much in as we can before we branch. And I suppose if there's anything that could safely go in after we branch, we could talk about that. And then I think we should track the changes that are going in with the mind of taking the 0.36 release and creating a 0.36.1 or some such release to ship Java 19 afterwards. And hopefully still get it out the door before we have to deliver Java 20. Not sure if Toby, does anyone have thoughts on that?
No, I agree. I think that's probably the best path forward at this point.
I don't like the idea of not shipping Java 19. It would cause us a few problems not having a 19 ever.
How long, how much time do we have to release Java 19 before it's not worth it to release it?
If we can't get something out before April, So in April, there'll be a new set of security vulnerabilities announced and fixes for all the streams, but 19, because 19 will be out of support. So we couldn't ship anything after those are announced.
Okay.
When is 20 out, in March?
20's out in March, but 20 doesn't fix security vulnerabilities. So
Right.
could still release 19 even after OpenJDK
Right.
releases 20, right up until whatever the date is in April.
But we wouldn't want to go like the day before because it's not worth it. So we should probably have some kind of time frame to make it worthwhile.
I mean, we were aiming for 036. So I'm hoping maybe we could get something out in January if we think we're that close. Anyways, we'll continue to watch it the next few weeks and see what we can get in before the 036 shuts down. And hopefully there's only a small amount of change remaining, and we could do that on top of 036 rather than trying to cut a new release from the headstream. We'll have to track those changes. Does anybody have updates about Adopt? I'm not seeing anybody on the call. Machine, Adam, do you have anything to say about machines?
Not a whole lot. We did do a cleanup on Artifactory, so an extra 5 days. So we're down to 74%. So we'll keep an eye on it towards the end of the week again. The retry loop on the Windows build seems to be working for the intermittent compile failures. So we're keeping an eye on that. And we're just trying to work out if that is a good solution, then where we're at with building new machines and taking the old ones offline. And we're going to look at sharing 2 with OMR again. So we're looking to see how our other experiments are going with Z-Linux and Arch Mac, and see if we can do that with Windows as well. If not, we might look at some kind of scheduling cooperation.
I haven't noticed anything lately.
Yeah, I think the Z-Linux have been better. We did reduce the XMX on one of the Jenkins agents on OMR to 1 gig. Because what's the default on Java 11? 2 gig or
It's 25% of the physical
25%?
RAM, up
I thought-
to some limit, like 25 gig. But you know,
Okay.
if you have 8, then you'd get 2.
Okay. I think they're already 11 now, so yeah, 25%. I think they're usually 8. So
Yeah, even if you were running Sumeru 8, it has the same behavior, 25% of the physical RAM.
oh, so they're both 25%?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they changed between 8 and 11.
No, IBM Java 8 doesn't use that rule, but Sumeru
okay.
8 does.
Okay. So if that is what's helped the Z-Linux kill failures, then we'll maybe look at rolling that out everywhere. Or at least on the shared machines.
Yeah, seemed like it made a difference because
Yeah.
we're not seeing those the OS killing the jobs anymore.
Yep. And the Arch Linux from Equinix are offline for the week, pretty much. I did add the labels onto the OSU machines as backup. They're just slower, so the builds can get through. We'll watch for them to come online. We might have to do an IP update when they come back, but to be determined.
Yeah, so we got through 11, 17, 19, but we hadn't gotten through JDK 8 testing this morning, and OMR acceptances backlogged the A-Linux machines.
Okay.
So I expect we will get through them. It's just going to take like a day and a half rather than running overnight.
Okay. I mean, I could clone out some more, but up to you if we need it or not.
If it's easy, could use a couple more so that we're not backlogged so far through the day.
Okay. See what I can do.
We did have a lot of network problems last night. A lot of jobs completed the testing, and then when it went back to the parent job got some sort of error and failed. So I only found one child job that was running tests. Actually, even the one child job that failed, it ran all the tests and passed, and then failed afterwards. There's just a lot of them last night. I don't know if there's any particular reason for it.
Okay.
Not something that normally happens, so hopefully it won't happen again. But
Didn't seem to be related to certain platform or geo.
no, it seemed to be across a lot of platforms.
Okay. If you have links handy, you can send them.
Well, they're all in the Jenkins Slack
Okay.
channel and the open Slack.
Okay.
So AIX, Mac, Windows. But I saw some Z Linux as well, and I'm not seeing it in the list here. I wonder, maybe some of them weren't reported to Slack. Maybe it was just some kind of network hiccup. Maybe we won't see it again. That's what I'm hoping for.
Okay, I'll take a look. Saying it can't copy the tap artifacts from the child. I'll take a look.
Okay, thanks. Marius is not on the call. I guess we don't have any updates for JIT server or microJIT. The next meeting for microJIT is on November 17th, so 2 days. CRIU, Toby.
Nothing new or major to discuss. Our plans are still to, once we've split for 0.36, so I guess in a week from now, we're planning to turn on CRU on JDK 11 and 17. So that's something we're targeting for before the end of the year.
Okay.
That's it for me.
Mac M1, I will have to get status from Daryl about compressor support. We're still hoping to announce product ready builds in a few days, hopefully. And then any other business, Erwin, you had brought this up before. I don't know if there was anything else you wanted to say about it.
No, I will follow up on the issue once I think this week is done and people are free from the conference that's happening this week.
Do we need to keep this in any other business, or will we just continue to discuss in the issue?
I think we can just discuss in the issue. I just brought it up as a thing to discuss one time in the meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Does anyone else have anything? Thanks, everyone.